Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Welcome back. You're watching the Kaiser Report. Kaiser here on the couch and John here on the microphone to talk to you today about a few things that are happening. First of all, let me just say we're all our prayers and our heartfelt sympathies to those people who lost their lives yesterday in New York City because of a mentally ill person that decided to use a high-powered rifle to go into Manhattan and take it out on the NFL and somebody from BlackRock. And the loss of the police officer's life lies heavy on my heart. It's a shame that these things take place. It's a shame that mental illness goes untreated in this country for a lot of different reasons. And we don't understand it, but my heart and my prayers are with the families of the people that were killed. And why, we don't know, but we'll hear more and more about this as it's taken over this morning's news cycle and late last night. So it's the media that drives the hate and discontent, and whoever writes their stuff for the actors and actresses to go out and sit in front of the cameras and tell you how you have to fight against this and fight against that. It triggers certain people. We know this now. And then we have our lawmakers that are in the streets yelling, fight, 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 stop the Trump supporters at all costs, and so on and so on. This takes the weak minds and the mentally ill and triggers things to happen that should never happen in these United States of America. It's almost a shame that we have media complicit in the determination of the Democratic side and a handful on the Republican side that want to see Donald Trump fail at all costs. They've tried to shoot him to put a stop to what they believe is a roadblock in their way to socialism. And this is the division that is being caused in the name of religion, in the name of race, and in the name of just hate and discontent on foreigners that sit in the seats of our government that propone doing these things against a sitting administration that may be there. They love to gaslight us. Let's just think just alone on the news of the tariffs that took place with the meeting with the EU in Scotland just a couple of days ago. They're still trying to gaslight us that Trump tariffs are bad. And if you cannot see the hypocrisy in this right now, after this deal was just signed and many others to follow, then we need to really reconsider what news channels we're tuning into and how much you have been gaslighted throughout the process of these tariffs, that tariffs bad, Trump's bad. The Democrats have no plan, but if you give us time, we'll come up with one, and we'll come up with people like Mondavi in New York that, during that horrific shooting yesterday, just imagine that if he did away with the police and put social workers, as he wants to do, out in place of the police, how well they would have handled that situation. Come on, if you don't see the hypocrisy here, it's unbelievable. But let's take a look at the gaslighting over tariffs that are taking on right here.
I always say tariffs is the most beautiful word to me in the dictionary.
We should all be terrified because this is a president who has destabilized the world order in terms of our own national security interests, as well as our economic security. Look, at some point, we do have to revisit the conversation that this is a president who is unstable and increasingly unwell.
Where the small players get pushed out, That's the lesson of tariffs. They don't work.
All of this is a negative for the U.S. economy.
Because these tariffs are bad economic policy.
We're supposed to trust this guy because he wrote The Art of the Deal. You ever say, I got the book, Art of the Deal. Yeah, that's why we're supposed to trust him. You ever look at chapter 9 in Art of the Deal? It's about how smart Trump is.
Just your bottom line on this formula, is it good or no?
Yeah, so the formula is definitely not good. You know, that was the point I was making, is even the derivation of the formula, no matter what they do with it, I think it is not good trade policy.
Tariffs don't work. Economists have said that for years. Now we're in a case study. We're living in a case study of how tariffs don't work.
Well, we finally need to acknowledge we have someone at the wheel of the global economy that is blackout drunk right now.
Yeah. And he doesn't drink.
No deals. There are no deals. I mean, it is Charlie Sykes like Mexico paying for the wall. I mean, Mexico never paid for the wall. There was very little wall ever built. There are no deals. There are, as Justin just said, there are no deals. I mean, that is a factually accurate statement.
Many countries have. They've ripped us off left and right. But now it's our turn to do the ripping.
On the president's own turf.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
One battle in the tense trade war over. A much-anticipated deal between the U.S. and Europe reached at Mr. Trump's private club in Scotland today.
It's a very big deal. It's the biggest of all the deals.
We have a trade deal between the two largest economies in the world. And it's a big deal. It's a huge deal.
The White House says the president paused his private golf outing here to meet with the EU Commission president at her request. Ursula von der Leyen represents the 27-country alliance, among the largest U.S. trading partners.
It will bring stability. It will bring predictability. That's very important for our businesses on both sides of the Atlantic.
There are no deals. I mean, that is a factually accurate statement.
So it's a good deal. It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Was tough negotiations. I knew it at the beginning, and it was indeed very tough, but we came to good conclusions for both sides.
I think that Congress should take over negotiations. Let me tell you, you don't negotiate like I negotiate.
So now we are finally, after 6 months of this administration, starting to see some of these deals come into shape. Japan was last week, and now this EU deal, very significant as well, with 15% levies across the board. But look, the threat of those higher tariffs has worked in this case.
That's the lesson of tariffs. They don't work.
And what do you think a deal like this means for tariff negotiations with other countries? Are they watching this and thinking, I better fall in line?
There's no doubt about that. That is a very good point.
I know what the hell I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. And you know what I'm doing, too. That's why you vote for me.
Well, it's interesting at the take of what the news media has to come out and say against this, that, and the other thing. And the people that they rely on telling what the situation is, what the formulas are, have no idea how tariffs work. Half of Congress doesn't understand our Constitution, never mind understanding tariffs or any kind of an equation used for the tariff transfers between two nations or multiple nations in the United States. It's almost funny, isn't it, that they can come on and rail against a good thing. For the first time, we're not going to be paying the price for everybody else's goods. We're going to put money back in the coffers of the United States, and if we can keep Congress's hands off of it with their specialty programs that they want in each of their individual states, and that may be circling back to their campaign funds in some instances. We know now that BlackRock funds a lot of these people. We know who is funding a lot of the politicians, And it is the three big ones that always rear their heads. And then on the other side of the coin, the Democrats are relying on George Soros and his family for all of the dollars they need to convince you that everything on the other side is wrong. Do we need a third party in this United States? We have an independent party, but we can't seem to get anyone with enough knowledge in there that can win an election. We always end up with the castaways from the original primaries in some cases that do us no good. So maybe we do need a replacement party for the bifurcated Humpty Dumpty party of the Democrats that are trying to piece things back together and come up with, for the first time in many years, a plan and a substantive idea, which they have been devoid of for the last several Democratic administrations that have been in there. And now with the uncovering of all the crap that's happening or had happened during the Obama administration, we'll see where that's going to lie. But they're fighting against you getting the truth on that. They're all of a sudden now, after all these years of not paying any attention to the Epstein files, have decided to use Epstein files as their distraction to us. Don't look behind the curtain. Don't look at the Obama administration. And don't believe anything they're telling you here. Just believe us when we tell you that we knew all about the Epstein files and it's now the Republicans that are covering it up. Come on. We know damn well that they didn't give a darn about Epstein or the pedophilia or anything else. All they wanted to do was walk away from it. But now they see an opportunity to use it to distract you from the truth that is coming out of our investigative agencies that are involved in this. Well, that brings us out to the left coast one more time. Do you really think there's any problems in L.A.? The mayor says everything is fine. Her Angelinos are angels. You shouldn't be rounded up. The police should leave them all alone because they're just good people. Well, I don't think that that's really the case. The city has just paid to repaint all of the tunnels that look like a third world cesspool as you drove through them, and they did a beautiful paint job in it, and when less than 24 hours later, all of the graffiti was back up. It's turn a blind eye. The cops come along and say you shouldn't do that, but they're not allowed to do anything because the mayor doesn't want her Angelino angels touched. So let's take a look right here.
California, here we come, right back where we started from.
Fed up, Angelinos say something has to change. They say too many street takeovers keep turning into looting sprees, and it's local businesses that are paying the price.
It's all over the city. It's everywhere. It's not just here. It's everywhere.
I say that's the California way.
Later that same evening.
New at 10, city crews painted the 2nd Street tunnel, only to see vandals paint graffiti all over it in less than 24 hours.
Oh, Susan, it didn't take long at all for this to happen. Go ahead and take a look. You might be able to see if you take a zoom in on where the city came in and painted this tunnel. There's that line of paint, the difference in color there. And then taggers had other ideas. Tug of war now underway in downtown LA. The city just cleaned this up.
Ah, man, do it over. Do it over. Do it again and again and again and again.
The city painting over graffiti in the 2nd Street tunnel. But this video, less than 24 hours later, shows dozens of taggers back at it, spray painting again.
Within the same day, the same night, you just seen a mob of people just came through and started doing their thing.
This tagger choosing to hide his identity for his work here.
Yeah, it's wrong. Like, you get in trouble, but it's like a stress reliever at the same time.
What the hell did you just say?
This tagger choosing to hide his identity for his work here.
Yeah, it's wrong. Like, you get in trouble, but it's like a stress reliever at the same time.
Lock him up. Put him in the goddamn prison. 5 years.
Roughly quarter-mile long tunnel blanketed by words, symbols, and characters. While empty spray cans now litter the curb. What do you want to tell people that are against this?
I mean, I understand. I understand they see it as vandalism and whatnot, but it's, a lot of people also see it as an artistic expression.
In some cases, taggers were likely here for hours. Just take a look at this.
I actually was there when the cops were rolling up and they were like, yo, can you not do that? Because they were stopping people one by one, but everyone was trying to finish their art real quick.
Last year, an abandoned skyrise downtown also became the center of a vandalism debate, becoming known as graffiti towers. This is the latest battle between taggers and the city.
Brand new canvas, right? You're just wasting taxpayer money on paint and materials, and it's going to be the same thing.
So we reached out to the mayor's office as well as LAPD for comment on this situation. So far tonight, we haven't heard back.
Where's the mayor?
Don't know.
Don't know.
Is there an echo in here?
Meanwhile,
we also are going to have a reinstitution of the Angelino card, something that Mayor Garcetti started during COVID that will actually provide cash assistance to people. Because, you have people who don't want to leave their homes, who are not going to work, and they are in need of cash.
She is giving out free cash, just cash, to illegals.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Think about that.
Join us in California.
Oh, hell no. I ain't doing that. I'm not stupid.
It's interesting at best when you stop and consider that nothing of consequence happens to these people that break the law almost on a daily basis and use the opportunities for the upset and riots just to loot small businesses and put them out of business, as if the rents in L.A. and in the state of California are not driving people out. Once you lose your business or your home due to a fire, you're at the mercy of God at that particular point to figure out how you are going to afford to stay in the state of California or run a business in the state of California, or even a major corporation that is now deciding to leave because of the tax burdens placed on them to pay for the nonsense such as repainting half a city so they can go out in less than a day and put it right back to Bangladesh standards. It's almost incredible what takes place in the state of California under the guidance of new scum out there, as he is called by Trump, and the mayor of L.A., who is a disgrace to let this stuff happen and protect the criminals and the illegals at all cost. And then we move into the middle of this country, and then we have to ask ourselves, how does a guy like Tim Walz ever get elected to a governorship? How does a guy like Tim Walz ever get picked to run as the vice president to a barely functional candidate that he attached himself to that? Probably helped sink that campaign. But it's just a disgrace on how does he get elected to anything? He can't even speak properly. But he's out this past weekend and made a fool of himself one more time. Take a look here.
I'm just going to say it. Everybody who's going to run on the Republican side is going to bend the knee to Donald Trump, exactly what he said. And it's very clear that these policies are unpopular. This latest bill. Well,
at least that wasn't weird.
It's very clear that they're going to hurt us in very significant ways. And so I think after all this and seeing the damage they're done, I have no idea. I don't know the guy. I appoint thousands of people to these.
Bad grammar, good advice.
I will be candid about this. A lot of talk about this. I'd like to see more stories about what Melissa Ortman did. I'd like to see more stories about Mark Ortman. I'd like to see more stories. If people who don't know the ins and outs of this maybe would underestimate just how effective of a legislator this was. You don't have to like their politics.
Great word.
What I'm trying to figure out is how do you stay passionate about debating the issues and separate it from what has gotten into this personal attacks and elimination?
You have been a part of personal attacks before. You have doled some out.
We fire that merry band of dipshits that are backing Trump on everything.
Yeah, I've been pretty specific. I have doled them out, and I will just say, for whatever reason, billionaire, rich white guys making it more difficult for regular folks to live their lives.
Don't you fall into the trap. Democrats are full of crap.
That's Tampon Tim at his best. And whether or not he is going to mix into the primary race for the midterm elections, we don't know. Is he going to mix into the presidential primary come 28? We don't know, but he has enough chutzpah to probably think that he could be a candidate. We'll see. We'll see where that goes. And that takes us into Washington, D.C., and the great state of Baltimore and its person of interest, Van Hollen, one more time. You remember him. He's the guy that went down and had margaritas with a deported criminal to try to bring him back to the United States, and just goes along with all of the criminals, but he just wants to keep criminals in Baltimore, I guess. So he's over at an ICE facility the last couple of days, banging on the doors there, telling him that his constitutional rights as a senator should allow him in to see the detainees that were gathered up by ICE, and it was an ICE facility. And let's think about why. It's unbeknownst to anyone why he would be spending his time and efforts to help out illegals rather than being in Congress doing the work he was elected to do, which is not protecting the criminal element, but helping get this nation back on track. But the Democrats, as you probably have realized over the last 6 or 7 months, that they don't vote for anything that may help America. They don't vote for anything at all that will help the economy in America. They don't vote for anything that will bring law and order back to the streets of blue cities that are in an upset situation. They don't vote for anything that will take the fentanyl-addled people off the streets of small towns just outside of Philadelphia, where they're bent over and can't stand up from the use of fentanyl and this other new drug that's out, which I don't know anything about, but they say it's 5 times stronger than fentanyl. And we have entire populations roaming the streets like zombies in Baltimore. Van Hollen doesn't care about that. He just wants to get the illegals released. Take a look here.
So I'm here in front of the
Federal building in Baltimore. And we just tried to go up and visit one of the ICE facilities in this building that is used essentially to house people who have been taken out of their neighborhoods in Maryland. No! We wanted to go see for ourselves because we've learned both through earlier visits by staff, but also through the testimony of people who've been detained here about the inhumane conditions. And the fact that we were locked out, literally locked out, despite the welcome sign, shows that they don't want us to know. The Department of Homeland Security, Donald Trump, don't want the American people or the people of Maryland to know what is happening behind closed doors. Really? Finally, somebody did come out, a person who's the acting director. I actually read to her what the law requires. The law is crystal clear. That members of Congress, on behalf of their constituents, are allowed to go visit and look at these kind of holding facilities where people are being detained. And despite the clear meaning of this law, she was told by higher-ups not to let us in. We are going to keep pushing. We're going to keep pushing for transparency because you need transparency in order to have accountability. Bad things happen behind closed doors. We need to let the sunlight in, and we will keep at it.
So you ask yourself, why does he fight so hard to get in to take care and console the criminal element? It's votes, folks. He wants their votes when he comes up for re-election or has to run again for something. It's almost incredible when you think about all the crime that's taking place in the streets of Baltimore, in the streets of Philadelphia, Minneapolis, L.A., San Francisco, New York City. And these Democrats will not vote for anything that Trump thinks will help the economy or things that will be better for law enforcement to do their job, to fix the court systems that are releasing the criminals back into the street to do more harm to you, your business, or your family. And these are things that need to be fixed, but the Democrats have a no vote on everything that is brought up in Congress anymore under probably the rule of whoever is trying to lead that party. Well, they're leading it down the tube straight to hell because you can't continue in this fashion. We need bipartisanism in our Congress. And if these people want to sit on their hands and decide everything the Trump administration does is bad, which is not the case, folks. If you look around, people are continuing life as normal one more time, not afraid to go out and spend $1 anymore. What we do need is lower interest rates so home buying can become a prevalent thing one more time. And we need interest rates to drop so people can buy more automobiles and large items for homes, such as washers, dryers, TVs, and the like. And don't try to convince the American public through your media outlet, your propaganda machines, that the tariffs are going to prevent this. It has nothing to do with tariffs. This has been explained many, many times on certain platforms such as Rumble, such as this here on YouTube, and Truth Social, and some of the media that is not biased, which is very hard to find, but you'll get more out of an Australian Sky News of the truth than you'll get out of your legacy medias here. The media is gaslighting you. They're supplying you with leftist information. Who runs it? We don't know. Do you feel bad that somebody like Colbert is going to be put off the air? Yeah, I feel bad because if you're losing $40 million a year as a corporation such as Paramount or the CBS network, you need to make a move. That's just fiduciary responsibility that should be on the back of anyone running a corporation as large as that. But enough of that. We know where the Democrats lie right now. It's a no vote on anything that comes up that may help the middle class. They want to rule as a socialist organization, and they're going to cry and try more and more to socialize this country, which doesn't work. It's been shown throughout the world many, many times. Communism and socialism is not the answer to anything that we should be looking at in this country. We have a constitution and a republic that is a wonderful working way to continue in this country, and we don't need to socialize anything about it. So with that, we're going to take a small exit here into Stupid Town to wrap our heads around the real stupidity that takes place in this country from time to time. So let's exit here and take a look at what's going on.
So the Democrats had a summit yesterday for young Democrats, and let's just say if this wasn't a sign of how bad things are going for them, nothing is.
What the f*** is up? Let's go!
So apparently they were expecting to have Kamala show up, but instead she showed up in this glitchy 2-minute video.
I'm gonna go ahead and give it to the person who's giving us special remarks.
Hello, voters of tomorrow. I want to thank you for everything you all are doing to organize, empower, and advocate for Gen Z. We must be intentional about lifting up our young leaders and encouraging your ambition. Your generation has grown up on the front lines of so many crises, from COVID and the climate crisis to gun violence and mental health. You know what's at stake, and you are not waiting for someone else to figure it out.
And this video was preceded by a guy in a panda bear mask. It seems to be the guy that was hosting this thing. They are such a mess.
So some ground rules. I don't think that this will be super necessary because you all seem really cool, smart, and hot. Who the f*** are we? And why are we here in a panda head? I also have had a long-term feud with former presidential candidate Marianne Williamson because she f***ing sucks. Memes change people's minds. So what's a meme, huh? Come on, people. Look alive.
They are such a mess. Even the head of the DNC right now is saying they've basically hit rock bottom.
There's no doubt that, we have work to do. When you hit rock bottom, there's only one direction to go, and that's up.
Come on, people. Look alive!
Diversity is America's greatest strength.
No, that couldn't be more wrong.
I do have one yes or no question for Mr. Hamilton. I know you're involved in DEI cases, but has any court opined that DEI is unconstitutional? Yes or no?
Yes.
Which court?
United States Supreme Court.
I disagree with you because you're talking about the Harvard case.
She's definitely a low IQ person.
You can go read it yourself.
And if you are using that case for the proposition that the United States Supreme Court deemed diversity goal as being unconstitutional, you are very wrong.
I don't like it when you say things.
And on the basis of the suspicion supposedly for people who are DEI, that would mean that you suspect me of something. I cannot be trusted. I hope that is not.
I don't know if you're. Hopefully, you're not talking about me because that's a ridiculous accusation.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
I wish everybody else would say the same thing about those people in our country who happen to.
Your time has expired, Senator. Thanks. Thanks so much. Their investigation. She says She says, and she's a Republican.
You're traveling through another dimension. A dimension not only of sight and sound, but of carefully choreographed media complicity. The signpost up ahead, your next stop, the Trump derangement zone.
Senator, as you know, former President Obama has weighed in through a spokesperson. He said patently false. I actually spoke to Susan Miller, who's a former senior CIA officer who helped oversee the 2017 intelligence assessment on Russian interference. She says it's completely false.
Meet Kristen Welker, trusted NBC anchor, devout defender of the narrative, and recent unwilling passenger aboard the express train to cognitive collapse.
That Obama or anyone else asked them to change or sway their investigation. She says she says, and she's a Republican, says they all would have quit if that had happened. Senator, are you trying to rewrite history to distract from the Epstein matter, Senator?
Moments ago, she received classified intel, not from a shadowy Russian source, but from Trump's freshly dusted off Department of National Intelligence. The bombshell that the Obama administration may have orchestrated a bureaucratic Broadway production of lies, complete with a fog machine of fake Russian dossiers, all designed to smear one very orange political outsider.
I'm trying to let you know and the media know that we found something we didn't know before. At the end of the day, I'm not calling for a prosecution against President Obama for treason, but I am calling for an investigation. Mr. Miller also said there was no credible evidence that President Trump colluded with the Russians.
Republican says they all would have quit if that had happened.
Kristen's pupils dilate. Her notes scatter like classified documents at a Biden beach house. The prompter flickers. She starts yelling into the void, but the void doesn't respond. It's too busy laughing. She came to deliver the news, but the news, it seems, has delivered her straight into the Trump derangement zone.
News Jack. Over the weekend, Donald Trump announced a new trade deal with the European Union. No! It will result in a $90 billion per year tax hike on American families. When you raise tariffs, the American families pay for it. $90 billion tax on American families in this tariff deal with the European Union. Donald Trump is, as usual, trying to hype up and lie about his accomplishments. Donald Trump always lies, almost always lies about his accomplishments, and this is no exception.
Well, that'll wrap up our visit to Stupid Town today. I hope you got some giggles out of that. It's a depressing Tuesday as a result of what took place in New York yesterday. One more time, now the Democrats will be on about gun violence is taken over and it's all Trump's fault. I can hear it now about the gun laws, this, that, and the other thing. Here is a mentally ill patient that should have been looked at when they went to purchase that weapon. Why is it that the criminals get away with getting automatic weapons when you can't? That's not going to stop. I don't care how many gun laws you pass. We do have to have verification. I go along with that, but the mentally ill should not be able to purchase firearms, in my estimation. Have a wonderful, wonderful Taco Tuesday. Go get a taco, a burrito, and if you're not working and you're not driving, go have a margarita and relax, because it's going to be a grand day for some of us. And remember, as I tell you every day, please get on your knees and pray for our leaders that they come to their senses. Pray for our Congress that they stop with the gaslighting and the silly things like you saw Schumer almost crying over something that he doesn't understand. And he's portraying it as a tax increase to us, which is so far-fetched it's ridiculous. So pray for even him, the chicken hawk that he is. Somebody types it up and he can't even, hunched over that podium, recite it off a piece of paper correctly. This guy is so far past his sell-by date, he's aged like fine milk. So with that, we're going to say, stay safe, stay strong, and stay tuned to the Kaiser Report for more fun and information. And we'll see you back here tomorrow, Wednesday, hump day. Bye-bye now.